Hello, everyone. We are officially through the month of June in 2025, which means that we are halfway through this year, which is hard to believe. And man, what a year it has been so far when it comes to the market, when it comes to political events, when it comes to economic data. It has been quite the first 6 months of this year. So, just looking first at the market and the major market indices, all three major market indexes were up for the month of June. The month of June produced a return on the Dow Jones of roughly about 4.25%, the Nasdaq being up about 6.5% approximately, and the S&P 500 being up almost 5% for the month. That brings the quarter to date returns. So for April, May, and June, the Dow Jones was up almost 5%. The Nasdaq was up about 17.5%, and the S&P 500 was up about 10.5% just for the second quarter. When we look at the year-to-date returns, so for the first 6 months of the year, the Dow Jones was up about 3.6%, the Nasdaq was up almost 5.5%, and the S&P 500 was up 5.5% as well. The month of June marked the second straight month of positive returns in the S&P 500 and the third straight month of positive returns in the Nasdaq, with both of those indexes hitting all-time highs towards the end of June. As we turn the page and look towards the economic data that was released this month, the CPI number, or the inflation number, came out at 2.4%. Getting closer to that 2% target that the Fed has, but still not quite there, but definitely a long way off from the highs back at 9% a few years back. When we look at the PCE, which is also an inflation metric, the Fed's preferred inflation metric, that came in at 2.3% for this month of June. Unemployment came out at 4.2% for the month, which is still historically quite low when we look at it over a long-term historical perspective. We feel that the Fed may cut twice this year. They paused this month or didn't make any changes, as they haven't made any changes yet so far this year when it comes to interest rates. But we do feel, given the macro data and the micro data, that the economic data that has been released, that they will cut a few times, probably twice, before year's end. When we look at the consumer confidence has decreased. So we aren't feeling quite as good, but we have continued to spend, and that has held the hard data, or the hard economic data, up, and it's maintained a pretty positive posture so far this year. When we look at current events that have happened this month, it was quite the month of June. We had conflict between Israel and Iran. We had the reconciliation bill, one big beautiful bill. President Trump has said that he hopes for that one big beautiful bill to be signed by July 4th, so just here in a few days, but that is a self-imposed deadline. That's not a hard deadline, so if it does push past July 4th, there's no real repercussions for it pushing past that date. They were still in discussion when it comes to Medicaid, the SALT cap. Those have been two of the more sticking points in those negotiations that they have not resolved yet as of the end of June. We are also approaching, on July the 9th, the end of the 90-day tariff pause. So no deals have officially been signed yet as of the end of June, but there have been positive trade talks both with China as well as the EU, Canada, a few other countries that we feel and have optimism that we can get some deals pushed across the finish line in the near future. While the last few months have experienced less volatility, maybe than the first 4 months of this year, we don't think that we're completely out of the woods when it comes to a volatility perspective. We still think that there are a lot of unknowns out in the market when it comes to tariffs, the one big beautiful bill, a number of other different issues that still need to be resolved and finalized. And so we would expect there to continue to be some additional volatility throughout the remainder of this year. Altogether, we're off to a positive start this year in the market, and hope to have a wonderful second half as well. Hope you all have a wonderful month of July. Look forward to talking to you soon. See you next month.